a map that both of these two teams, well, you've just talked about their record, something, and we'll see exactly what can emerge out of play day number 6. Again, these two teams close on the leaderboards. It's Gaimin Gladiators with 9 points, Nokturns with 6. Only 2 wins. Only 2 wins under the belts of Nokturns. One of those came yesterday against Outlast in a 7-1 domination. But before that, their only other win came in week 1, in day 1 against One Shot, in a dominant performance. Well, not dominant, but we'll say impressive performance from them. If Nokturns can find that day 1 mentality and play style again, then I might agree with you and say that, well, Gaimin Gladiators, they may have to be quite terrified. But as we finish up our operator bans, we can see nothing out of the ordinary. The Maverick band, the Kaid band, a common combination of bans on the attacking and defensive side. One thing to note, though, is that Thatcher is still on the board.
Thatcher is, in fact, still up. We've sacrificed 2 hard breachers for the EMPs, but, Jonah, Cade is off the board, meaning that you don't really have to play Thatcher. No one can Cade trick the hatches anymore. The only things that can stop breaches can be easily cleared from above or below with nades, so instead of wasting your pick on the EMPs, why not just bring an extra set of nades? Use 1 nade for the utility, use another nade for a kill, what have you. And Gaimin Gladiators are going to do just that, at least for now. Remember, they can still repick, but at least for now, they're not bringing the Thatcher. So I like how the operator bans have worked out so far for the attack. You know, losing those hard breachers is definitely going to hurt, but you still got Ace, you still got Thermite. You don't need the Thatcher. You can bring people like Finka, like Sledge, like Zoe, you know, those entry operators, those destruction operators. And I really want to see whether Gaimin Gladiators takes advantage of all the destructibility and fully clears out the roam Nocturnes are putting in their face, or if Gaimin Gladiators simply do something like Thermite Dirt and rush in. All right, well, they're playing Thatcher. There goes my entire point.
Yeah, well, the Thatcher does come out here, so maybe that even if they're not too worried about opening up any sort of reinforcements, they do still want to take care of a bit of extra utility. You can, of course, disable those evil eyes that Nightmare Nyx is bringing out. You can maybe assist your clear on the way into the building if you're having some trouble circumventing those mute jammers. Whatever the case may be, they will make that change, and it appears for now they will be making an effort to clear this roam. You've got Quartz, who has entered through Strip Club to provide that cutoff into Bar, but while he's doing that, the rest of the team is working their way in up above. You've got Beastly on the Thermite, who's going to open up this jacuzzi wall, exposing Exod in a moment or two, who is currently positioned in Gym, assisted by Poison, who is backed off into Logistics, waiting just for this clear to come on through. He'll have to back off as now that drone has spotted out his position. And Gaimin Gladiators, they are just waiting for this moment to push in.
Yeah, that hold on Jim is going to be oh so important to stop the breach, but Exod is given that up. That'll allow the attackers to start funneling through, perhaps to take this fight on Poison. He'll be droned out once again over towards Logi, so they know he's by the gold rotate. In comes the Zofia, taking control of Jim, but Poison has a chance. There he goes. He takes advantage of the opportunity, cuts down Jolton. Sure, he's refragged, but you've killed the Sledge.
Oh, the Sledge pick is huge here, because the whole point of going for a full map roam clear is to give you the first floor control you need to establish the vertical pressure. Guess what's missing now? Well, the operator that needs to apply the vertical pressure. The breaching hammer is gone, thankfully, and the one saving grace here for Gaimin Gladiators could be the presence of Arrow and his breaching charges. He also brought the secondary breaching charges, so he will be able to exercise some bit of this soft destruction, even if the breaching hammer cannot be a factor. And he will start to do that as Quartz holds those angles and works his way down the main stairs. So these defenders have been forced back. You've got 1 player over in secret, but the rest, 3 players, tucked on the site below now that the pressure from Gaimin Gladiators is building from above. Moto hatch open, Beastly and Sykes, at a moment's notice, they could get this drop going. They're going to wait, though, until these church reinforcements can be opened up by these Selmas.
judging by the push as well, it doesn't look like Exod's going to get the drop on anyone, so he will rotate all the way back. The vertical destruction with those breaching charges as well, severely limited because they only have it on the Ace. I would have liked to maybe see it on the Thatcher or the Zoe as well. Beastly drops Moto, gets the pick on Slothy, attempted refrag from Nyx, but he'll miss the shots, and that means plant attempt is going to go through from Beastly. Nothing to stop it from the defense, no C4s or anything because no one with C4s is left alive. Lackey will get a nice pick. Nyx actually finishes the planter with the Evil Eye that he was planting on top of, swinging the man advantage back into the favor of the Nocturns. Both attackers, though, have retreated back upstairs, but they don't have any vertical coverage on this diffuser. As long as the defenders can take main away from Quartz, go 1-for-1 with this Thatcher, it could be a relatively safe counter defusal. In comes the Alda, easy pre-fire for Nyx, just has to hold on to the drop down, but there's the vertical play from Arrow. Exod gets off the diffuser. He could have had the win right there. It'll be denied by Arrow. What a misplay from Nocturns. All he had to do was stick, but he'll give up the round. There's the time. Unwinnable for Lackey, and the Gaimin Gladiators will take the first point.
Oh, they'll take a round, but a little bit of a gift from Exod for the Gaimin Gladiators. Exod had every opportunity in the world to stick that diffuser. Once Quartz was felled, the only player to have the coverage on that diffuser was up above on the Moto hatch, the wrong position to hold if you want to deny the counter diffuse. His plan, and what we ended up seeing him do, was work his way back towards the main stairs, but if Exod had stuck that, there was no opportunity for that last attacker to drop down the Moto hatch and get the diffuser removed, because again, that would have been covered easily by the remaining defenders, and there was no time for the full rotation over to the main stairs to get the angle he needed to take down the planter. Just a slight misplay, a momentary decision to get off the plant and assist in a gunfight, and that was enough for Gaimin Gladiators to take the round. But Nocturns, they put up a hell of a fight on the site below in terms of, retaking that bomb site. An impressive effort nonetheless.
I mean, and that just goes to show sometimes how that fear factor can affect a post plant. I mean, you see it all the time when attackers are going for plant with low time. You see it all the time when defenders are trying to counter defuse. If you just hear gunfire or even footsteps, a lot of times that's enough to almost trigger the fight or flight and force someone off that denial. And I guess Exod got a little spooked there. Interesting little play we have from the Nocturns. Now, the purpose of this mirror window is, one, it still gives you those head holes that you always see on the garage wall. The added advantage of using a mirror window for it is that the wall is hard. So it's not like a Sledge or a Zofia, once they take garage control, can just open that wall and get in behind server for free. You're making it a lot more difficult. You're forcing either Beastly or Arrow to conserve a lot of that hard breach, or be forced to hop through the window. Of course, provided that they end up going for that garage play.
Right now, before any sort of garage or cash construction side play occurs from Gaimin Gladiators, they've still got to get open this breach. Beastly is certainly being delayed somewhat by the presence of Slothy and the factor that the bandit trick adds into the mix here. Gaimin Gladiators have not brought the Thatcher, so they're going to have to clear out this bandit from below. Sykes will do that, now stunning Slothy back, so Beastly should have a chance to get this exothermic off, and he will. In addition, actually, they're going to get Slothy down for his troubles, and even though he looks like he can get picked back up, that's not going to be great for his HP overall for the remainder of this round, because Gaimin Gladiators still 5 attackers remaining, all full HP, and now they can transition to this garage push.
I assume that Slothy got naded from below, but like you said, he will get picked up, and now the pressure's on for Exod. You got Nightmare Nyx down below, though, waiting in the depths of Oil Pit for someone to walk up those stairs to capitalize. Now duoing with Exod, but the Gaimin Gladiators know about that position. It's a very common one, although I don't know if the drones saw it. It looked like Nyx had backed off just in time to avoid the spot, but in come the flashes, in come the nades, they'll burn away all the ADSs and eventually headshot Exod. So the first pick goes the way of Gaimin Gladiators and gives them the control of garage they were looking for.
Well, Arrow holding this angle over towards the red stairs, doesn't want anybody to head down and go for a flank. In the meantime, you've got the rest of this attacking team starting to pressure the site. Quartz is going to hold off and actually look to pressure from below.
Slothy.
There is Slothy right around the corner, though, and I don't think Quartz has any idea. Slothy is on low HP, so he has to be very careful about when he takes this fight, and he does get spotted out. Quartz hops off the frag grenade effort. He looks towards Lounge, and he takes care of the bandit, no problem. Now Beastly, he's going to go for this plant right on default. No C4 in time. Poison rips it just to bait Beastly off the plant. It works. At least the second effort will, as Beastly gets off. But with these kills from Quartz, he lines up 2. There's another one for Quartz. That's a 4. I think that's a 4K from him as he takes down Poison to finish off the round, sneaking in from below, decimating that defense.
So that reinforcement that you saw in Garage with the mirror window doesn't matter much if the attack still has hard breach. They very easily were able to have Beastly open it up. There was no denial, because that's another thing that the mirror window can kind of provide is a window for denial, like just whipping an impact into the side of the mirror window, for example. But there was no denial on the side of Nocturns. Gaimin Gladiators was able to move in for the plant for free, and while everyone was distracted with denying plant, Quartz made his move. Not only killing Slothy downstairs because the bandit simply took too long, was too passive on that flank, which you could argue the HP had a lot to do with. Maybe if he was full, he would have played that a little bit more aggressively, less conservatively there. Him taking his time definitely punished him. Quartz was able to ready his gun up, and after that, Quartz just walked through red stairs. Just walked up, killed the guy Khan, completely caught Poison off guard because Poison was trying to throw a C4 in, which, by the way, missed anyway. Another side effect of opening up that hard wall fully is that the C4 no longer has anything to land on, and it very easily just goes wide and into Garage. So very well played by Gaimin Gladiators to take advantage of Nocturne's own setup. But now, Jonah, we are on bar. Something that I don't know if Gaimin Gladiators are quite used to attacking.
Yeah, this was tricky for both teams, right? Always unusual for attacking teams to approach the double bar site or bar and stage site because they don't attack it very often. And you've got to make a very quick decision about how you want to approach it. Do you want to work your way in from above and go through a full vertical clear and apply pressure from up top? Or do you want to put a little bit more emphasis into a very direct horizontal approach? Both are viable and both have their benefits and sometimes their drawbacks. It all comes down to what Nocturns are expecting on the defensive side. If they don't expect that horizontal push, something we see a lot of defensive teams struggle with on this double bar site, if they don't put enough focus into watching out for a kitchen rush or a rush over from Lounge, then they can get absolutely blindsided and the site control can fall apart instantaneously. But if they put the proper focus into both up top and that first floor at the same time, it is a hard defense to take care of. Right on cue, Exod steps up, takes care of Quartz, who is rotating out of Kitchen to join his team. Looks like he won't be longer for this world.
Yeah, that was from the main stairs window. Something that we see a lot of defenders do, or defensive teams, is fully commit to the top floor because there's so many long angles the attackers have control of on that first floor. For example, Quartz opening that kitchen barricade now has complete view of the inside of bar and all the way into back billiards. Especially with that trade on Slothy, you've effectively nullified the upstairs play from Nocturnes. Gaimin Gladiators now have the vertical and likely the advantage of that horizontal just due to their weaponry and increased magnification on their guns. Exod, though, looking to put a stop to that. He'll fell arrow, so it's 2 kills on the round for this Jaeger, and now the Zofia has got to go on the hunt, make sure they don't get flanked again.
Well, Jolton knows he needs to get a kill or 2 back, given the man disadvantage that has now been thrust into the hands of Gaimin Gladiators. Exod does get quite lit up here, but not finished. I know Jolton wants that engagement back, hoping he could just sneak that headshot. And, well, I guess he really wanted that engagement back because he will just accidentally end his own life with a shotgun. Beastly rounds the corner, but misses his opportunity. So Nyx whips around with the FMG-9 and, well, finishes off the thermite. Last alive is Sykes, all alone in a load of trouble. 20 seconds for defenders to find almost no avenue where Nocturnes are not covering right now. You've got Nyx in the close corner. Sykes unlikely to check that position because he's got to focus on other things. He kind of briefly checks it, but not fully, and Lackey's actually the one who gets credited with that final blow. But a dominant round there from Nocturnes. Once they took that advantage, they never looked back.
And in large part due to Exod going to no because they have to open that barricade. So because Beastly had to go through Wolf, Nyx could safely stop him because he knew there was still a barricade lounge. Sykes wasn't there yet. So either Beastly went too fast, or Sykes took too long, or, Exod made more of an impact than I've already hyped him up to have done. But either way, the bar site works out. Surprising that Nocturne's only successful round so far was on the off site.
It works for them, but now they've got to figure something out on the other sites. I mean, this is the classic dilemma, right? You rotate every single time after having failed both the basement site and CCTV and cache. You can't go back to bar and stage, at least for a couple more rounds. So they've got to find out something, figure out something to do. And they're not going to go back to, or not going to try, rather, gym at all. They're going to let that one slip by and instead favor the church site down below. Once again, this is the site that we did see a pretty heavy roam extension, and a roam extension the Gaimin Gladiators cleared very quickly with what looks like to be the very same setup they are bringing through now. Quartz, he's positioned in Strip Club, providing this bar cutoff while the rest of the attack works their way in from above.
Yeah, it's odd that Nocturnes have kind of left Gym alone, despite even going cache because a lot of people consider cache to be one of the weaker sites, or maybe even the weakest beyond bar on this map. Gym is considered now to be almost, if not just as strong as Church. I mean, maybe we'll see Nocturnes do it the second go around. Instead of Gym, perhaps they'll throw Gym, instead of bar, perhaps they'll throw Gym into their rotation. But either way, it's another very extended roam that Gaimin Gladiators are hell-bent on clearing out. They'll be allowed through that Jacuzzi breach, but this time, instead of fighting it head-on, Nocturnes are just going to slowly peel away back towards the cache side of things.
And you think that is a beneficial choice. The question is, will they lose the opportunity to make much of an impact? They do have to be careful, because if Gaimin Gladiators can cut them off, then they could lose even more bodies than they did last time. But Gaimin Gladiators right now, they have kind of stopped during that clear. At least they haven't fully cleared all the way into construction. I mean, we'll know when that clear happens, because Poison is lying in wait with a shotgun. So either we'll see him get a kill, or we'll see him get pre-fired. For now, the fighting is down below. It's Jolton with the vertical play who takes down Lackey, but a trade is found. This one by Slothy onto the Thatcher of Quartz. This top floor pressure, though, from Nocturnes, still there. The question is Gaimin Gladiators aware of this?
Poison is sitting right next to that mute jammer. That's likely what's protected him this whole time, and why Gaimin Gladiators are seemingly completely unaware of him. You've even got Mozzie still up there, and there we go. Poison finally makes his presence known, popping that gym hatch, catching Beastly. One of the primary hard breaches looking for another, but Jolton pre-fires him away, leaving only one man still on the top floor. Again, Slothy as Mozzie. Plenty of drone denial up here to stop the attack from seeing him, but it looks like Jolton's aware. Skeleton key out. Slothy stands no chance in that fight. A triple kill for Jolton will cement the advantage, but still, the time is ticking. 23 seconds left in a 3 versus 2. Arrow is just now trying to breach, but there's mute jammers to stop it. Only one of them will end up going off. Nyx hugging this triple wall. Alda in hand. Exod will fall, and, well, so does Nyx. Jolton gets a 4K, and although it looked like the time bleeding away was an advantage for the defense, well, Gaimin Gladiators step up and find the kills when it matters.
Well, that one calls to mind a term that I think both Connor and CJ like to throw around, and that is getting active, right? Around, we just saw, I mean, Jolton especially, get active. There was a situation where they didn't quite know there was Poison up top, and they kind of fell into a little bit of a trap, right? Poison was able to exploit that and get a kill. You also had somebody come back up. I think it was Slothy who worked his way back upstairs into cache to then continue the pressure onto that attack, making sure they had no room to breathe. Jolton, he just has to put the team on his shoulders for a second and say, hey, I'm going to step up. I'm going to take care of this top floor clear. You guys focus on this site. I've got this. And there you go. He swings around. He'll take care of Poison. He just charges through construction with some intel. I'm sure some teammate provided him that intel. But with that intel, swinging around into cache, getting that kill with the skeleton key. And then there you go. The problem that Gaimin Gladiators were faced with was alleviated. Then 20 seconds left. They send it on the site. But if you push in quickly and you stay coordinated, it is enough time to get the job done.
Also, by the way, Jonah, I just checked the stats sheet. Now that Nocturns are finally going Jim with a really weird defense extending into stock, it looks like. I just checked the stats. It turns out Jim actually only has a 25% win rate on the defense.
Okay.
It is the weakest site on Clubhouse in Challenger League so far. So I guess conventional wisdom be damned. Our stock is the most favored as of right now, followed by Cash, a site that I've heard people, talk about hating so much. So screw conventional wisdom. We'll let the stats do the talking. Nocturnes will now hop on, statistically, the offsite to see if they can make it work.
Like you pointed out, we have a very bizarre extension down into Strip Club right now on this site. And it is a peculiar one just because it doesn't often come into effect for attacking teams. The only real threat is on the players repelled over on Jacuzzi. When that Jacuzzi breach is opened up, you're going to have some attackers working their way up in that position. Maybe we'll see some run out or some aggressiveness down below. For now, though, Gaimin Gladiators are clearing their way through the Cash side and working their way across the map, much like we see attacking teams do with some regularity. We don't see that full Cash extension, but we do see a player positioned in construction right now behind a deployable shield. That's going to be Slothy on the alibi, looking to get aggressive from this position, but feeling the pressure.
I think the strip play may have been a counter strat from Nocturnes, because in Gaimin Gladiators' last game against Took the Kids, a lot of times on Gym, Took the Kids would have someone playing below in bar, and every single round, Quartz would come in from strip into B, like the strip hallway into B1. So, maybe that was the idea from Nocturnes, but it's not really having any effect because Gaimin Gladiators have switched up the push and will end up getting the opening pick. I believe that was Sykes onto Poison roaming on the other side of the map. Slothy getting blown up, it looked like, by maybe that ace charge, but either way, he's just going to peek straight out, cap arrow before Jolton gets the refrag. So, although it's one back for his team, Gaimin Gladiator still leads by a man and has a whole 45 seconds to play with.
It's actually Exod who took the wide swing. Not sure exactly where Slothy was felled from, but he goes down and Gaimin Gladiators sees this advantage. Lackey tries to fight this one back and he'll pick up a kill onto Quartz, but still it's Exod and Lackey, the only two players this defense now has to rely on. Exod rotating around towards Jim, gets the better of Beastly, but a quick trade from Jolton, who was sitting right behind, and there goes Jolton, who lines up another, taking care of that final player, taking care of Lackey positioned over there in that showers spot in bathroom. And well, there you have it. Gaimin Gladiators will take another successful attacking round. Harrison, I know we talked about maybe these operator bans slightly favoring the attack because Thatcher is technically on the board and something that this attacking team has chosen to play here and there, but I don't know if it is this attacker side. I mean, 4-1 right now through 5 rounds is quite a margin to have.
Yeah, I mean, we're going back to bar, and this is Nocturne's last hope for that 4-2 split, the only site they were successful on. But again, as with every other site, there's a risk in playing it more than once, especially something like bar. Rarely do I ever see teams with maybe more than 2 passable bar defenses. So if Nocturnes are playing the exact same kind of defense, which it looks like they might be, with the exception of Mute.
10 seconds to go.
I don't know.
5 seconds to
I
go.
feel like Gaimin Gladiators are going to know what they're getting into. They're not going to get caught off guard by the site selection again.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Well, if Gaimin Gladiators approach this the same way they did last time, we'll likely see this round start off nice and slow as they work their way in up above, but we could see some adjustments. I'd like to see some adjustments. Maybe that adjustment is just applying a little bit of horizontal pressure rather than none at all. I mean, last time Quartz did sneak into Kitchen, but he did quickly back out. He got shot in the back of the head while he was doing that, but this early pressure I feel like is so valuable because it forces Nocturnes to be a little bit worried about the pressure coming in from both what's going on above and what's happening on that first floor. If you can put somebody in Kitchen, if you can throw some bullets through those bar walls, at some point Nocturnes cannot apply as much defensive presence to this top floor just because it is no longer as safe, no longer as reliable if there may be just some hint of direct attacking pressure. But with all that aside, it is right now still a focus on this top floor. Sykes will be the first player to actually step into the building and make that entry. Looks like he had a chance there, but it's Poison who takes the head of Sykes instead.
Wow, Cal Keeg, a brilliant shot from Mr. P through that hatch and through the strip wall, knocking off the Zofia. Beautiful first pick. That'll limit the destructive capabilities of this offense a little bit, but you've still got plenty of nades from Arrow and Quartz. Arrow, by the way, now on Iana, rather than the Ace we've seen him a majority of this map so far. And this time, Slothy's sticking around on those red stairs, maybe looking for a late flank that we saw Exod employ in the previous round. And I mean, although Gaimin Gladiators have lost a man, they don't look as frantic as they did in the previous round, right? They're taking their time, they're droning, they haven't lost 2 bodies to Exod, they've established info in sight as well, very good vertical play, forcing Nocturns off that site, and now that Nyx goes down, that's your smoke dead? Things aren't looking great for Nocturns.
Still only 50 seconds, though, for Gaimin Gladiators to make their move. If they work their way in by Lounge, they're going to have to worry about Slothy, who does reveal his position, though, and now it's him who has to rotate around. Jolton, he looks like he's going to be lying in wait, trying to chase down that castle before he can actually escape. Same thing goes for Arrow here. But it's, wait a minute, it's actually Slothy to get that kill. Jolton, I guess, just not prepared for that. Back in a 3v3 now that Quartz picks one up. But this defense is very extended. Look at this. Nobody is on the site, and Gaimin Gladiators, they've got to make a move. The site is exposed. Just step up and take it. Beastly, he'll go for this plant. Exod knows he has to stop this, but walks into the native Quartz. Poison walking up to deny this plant also
Slothy,
gets
no!
shut down, and Slothy cannot get the angle from above. Inches off. Denying that plant would have been a fatal blow, but instead it is Beastly who delivers the fatal blow to Nocturns, securing a 5-1 half for Gaimin Gladiators on the clubhouse attack.
And I mean, there it was. Gaimin Gladiators knew exactly what they were walking into. No more surprises from Nocturns to pull out. And that was such a heartbreaker. 3 versus 3. Gaimin Gladiators had established themselves. This time, sure, again, they had to kind of spread themselves thin, but they were in the right positions this time. And Slothy had the round winner. He was above. He has the perfect opportunity to deny plant, and I don't know what it was. Either a late call, maybe Poison didn't know where the plant was until, you know, he kind of half swung and died to Quartz, holding from Kitchen, which, by the way, very well done to Quartz getting that 3K, really saving his team. But if Slothy was just a slight bit earlier, it would have been a 4-2 half. But nope. Nocturns, again, their defensive woes really troubling them. I mean, they go down 5-1 against a Gaimin Gladiators team that did not look good on this map. I don't know. I'm really worried for Nocturns now. The only saving grace, and I'm going to keep doing this, their only saving grace right now are the stats. Gaimin Gladiators has a 36% defensive win rate. That is terrible. It's not as bad as 5-1, but it's that little glimmer of hope that Nocturns needs.
Well, Nocturns have got to get started on this comeback as soon as possible. You give one more round to Gaimin Gladiators, and it is a terrifying prospect at that point, because you've got to get then 5 rounds back-to-back, and Gaimin Gladiators would be on match point, and they'd be sitting ready to put things away. So Nocturns, hoping to start off with a bang, will be entering up above and going for this top-down clear. Big difference we're seeing here from Gaimin Gladiators compared to the Nocturns defense is that there is no big SSG-style roam or just big extension over the entire map. Instead, Gaimin Gladiators are playing this one a bit closer to the vest here. They're backed off, mostly sitting on the site below. I think all 5 of our defenders are actually positioned downstairs. No one looking to challenge and get too aggressive. There is an extension over in dirt. That's about the far as the extended defenders will go, but because of that, it means that Nocturns are able to get into the map and clear out pretty much the entire top 2 floors within 60 seconds.
It's a little odd that Gaimin Gladiators aren't playing farther forward, especially because we know that they can be an extremely aggressive team, very in-your-face. I mean, I feel like we say that about a lot of CL teams, but that's because it's true. A lot of these teams love playing in your face, and Nocturns are a team that get overwhelmed fairly easily on their attacks that we've seen thus far this stage. If you get in their face, if you throw a wrench in their plans, like a lot of times we see with Karn & Co., they tend to fumble. I mean, even take this first half as a good example. Gaimin Gladiators pretty consistent across the board. Meanwhile, on Nocturns, no one on the team has above 3 kills. And in comes Exod, though, looking to shut me up, wipes Jolton away from behind that mirror window.
I mean, it was his 4th kill, so finally getting over that, slight margin that Nocturnes just could not get past. Quartz does have an answer for that, though, and he will take care of Nyx. Removing the sledge, thankfully for Nocturnes, the sledge had already done his job in terms of that breaching hammer and the soft destruction that he can bring to Kitchen, opening up that floor and really forcing Gaimin Gladiators to rotate around, scrambling around just to find a safe spot to hold. Stuns will come in now. Beastly caught in the middle of the site, but a fadeaway Nitro Cell actually gets the 1-for-1 trade with Exod. Poison now looks to get this plant as Church control is firmly in the hands of Nocturnes almost out of nowhere. They take this control and they look to get this bomb down. Slothy covering the Ash wall takes care of Quartz, but Arrow gets one back through the blue wall this time. Sykes now stepping up the long haul, choosing to come in from behind. Arrow, a perfectly timed kill onto Slothy. It's all up to Poison. He does a little ring around the rosy himself, and he gets them both! Takes care of Sykes in the hall, takes care of Arrow in blue, who was looking around, running all over the place like a chicken with his head cut off. No idea where Poison was positioned, and that will benefit Nocturnes, giving them the round.
That was so scary. I really thought after Arrow was able to get those 2 kills, he was going to have the perfect opportunity, him and Sykes, to pinch out Poison, but I mean, this is just sometimes the way Siege timing happens to work out. Poison, I mean, perfect. It couldn't have been timed better. As soon as Arrow gets that kill and reloads, falls off the angle, Sykes wraps around towards main stairs, Poison makes his move, gets out of the plant spot, stops exposing himself to trip wall, and while Sykes is searching for him, like, okay, he's not on diffuser, he must have backed off and gone back upstairs because surely Arrow would have seen him. Gets caught. And Poison, I guess Arrow was like, oh, how did he get there? I don't know where the hell he is. Blah, 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 blah. And is just floundering trying to find this thermite. That could not have been better from Poison. I mean, Gaimin Gladiators sure dropped the ball with their positioning a little bit, but Poison capitalizing perfectly, getting that plant, making sure that his team does not yet suffer match point. The Gaimin Gladiators bringing out a very different defense. We are going from the basement now to the top floor, and they are hell-bent on holding down Lounge and ensuring Beastly gets those bandit tricks off.
Ooh, Arrow already takes a bit of damage here just to spray through that
Oh, there's a Monty?
garage door. Yeah, he wanted to get a bit aggressive, I think, but he's gonna be backing off because you do not want to challenge head-on into a Monty with several attackers behind it. Right now, though, the focus for Nocturnes is going to be getting this wall open. At the same time, they're going to work Nyx into the garage to pressure out Rafters and make it a lot harder, even for Beastly, to be bandit tricking on that position. If they can take Rafters control, they're going to make Beastly's life very challenging. He's a little late, though, as the perfect Zofia stun comes in, gets him off the bandit tricks, so the wall opened up within 45 seconds. That is a good point to be for Nocturnes.
And I guess maybe you gotta question the Gaimin Gladiators setup. So a lot of times when someone's bandit tricking like that with the dedicated lounge hold, they barricade that red door and then 2-hit it at the top. The reason being, a lot of times that barricade can actually interrupt that Zo stun and prevent it from hitting the bandit. But because they didn't do that, there's no need for a downstairs clear. Blackie is free to just stun in through the drone hole. Nothing Beastly can do. Wall is open, as well as clearing all that utility, doing away with the shield, making Quartz's position a little bit more exposed, forcing him to rotate up. But this Monty clear of Rafters does not go as planned. Arrow, who ate a lot of damage earlier, able to get the kill onto Exod. He's looking for another, but as he's distracted by the Monty, Poison finally comes up, gets the kill. Slothy kills Quartz, coming in for the trade, and now the man advantage is in the favor of the attack.
Sykes could get one back here, but looks the wrong way just at the wrong moment. He'll get lit up and now forced to fall back. This is not out of the question for Gaimin Gladiators. They still have 3 bodies up in the mix here. But as Jolton, he doesn't see Slothy, who was reloading the LMG, and he will die. Now Nyx and Poison are in the middle of the site. Beastly has nowhere to go. He'll get meleeed and taken down, absolutely decimated and out of options. Same thing goes for Sykes, who is trying to creep up the stairs, but again, just ignoring the player sitting in the bottom of garage. Slothy, who's able to get 2 free kills of defenders who just did not look his way.
Yeah, that was Slothy on the finger, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I think Lackey was Zo. So, well done to Slothy. Well done to Nocturnes as a whole. After Arrow got that first kill in Garage, I was like, uh-oh. you're supposed to prevent that with the Monty. But then Slothy comes in for the assist. Poison ends up taking as well. Again, Nyx drops the shield at the perfect time, forces Arrow to look at him. As he does, Poison peeks, lops off the head of that Jaeger, not to mention how quickly they got that breach open because there was no red door barricade. They had no need to clear lounge. All that time wasting was done away with. Then Nocturns could do it. You know, they could take away that shield with very little pressure. Quartz was continuing to play on red stairs. As they move into garage, Quartz tries to come in to assist his teammate. Slothy gets that kill. And then Slothy gets another freebie on Jolton, who's just bot walking down the staircase, I guess. I mean, while you were shoutcasting, I said, you know, that's a Jolton play if I've ever seen one. That was it was definitely a little odd. And Nocturns were taking full advantage of the wacky positioning as well as playing well off their Monty. Not a lot of Monty play as of this meta, and you'll love to see it work.
Did seem like something that Gaimin Gladiators were prepared for, right? With that lounge setup, they did have what should have been a good counter for a Monty. You don't want to walk into that crossfire as a Monty player. You only have a shield that can protect, you know, one side of you. Your back will be exposed to that. So good job, though, from Nocturnes to force out that lounge hold and allow Nyx to then walk in unimpeded. So well played there, even if there were a couple of hiccups. Overall, good use of that Monty to take care of the entire site before Gaimin Gladiators really knew what hit them. And as such, they will now rotate to a different bomb site. They do not want to go to CCTV and cache again. Instead, they will reattempt the basement site, a site that they came so close at when they tried to win that last round. I mean, it did look like Nocturnes had the edge, but then Gaimin Gladiators brought it back, only for Poison to then clutch it up and get the 2 final kills. But Gaimin Gladiators, they will be going with the same setup. I mean, we're not seeing a roam. We're seeing all of these defenders anchored down below, and unfortunately for Quartz, already using some utility just in the wrong spot.
Yeah, that's a 1 C4 down, 1 C4 to go, I guess, if you're this attack. That's a lot of plant denial now off the board that Gaimin Gladiators were sorely missing in the previous round. And I guess that's a real highlight for for Nocturnes. Although they almost lost that, they still got that plant down in a 3 versus 3, although this time they're going for a blue play. I don't know how I feel about that ace charge, considering there's nothing to stop Arrow from rotating through. Sure, he almost gets caught on the retreat, but still, maybe a bit of a waste of a Selma. But Nocturnes very clearly are switching up the push. They've opened kitchen, they've opened blue, and they've opened dirt. So I have to assume it's not going to be another church wall play.
Unclear if they're actually going to end up working their way down dirt or if that was just a distraction to freeze Jolton in his place, because for now, no Nocturnes attacker is actually working their way into dirt tunnel. Right now, it's Slothy, who's the bottom of main stairs, taking care of Quartz with a brilliant shot. And Poison, he's snuck in, and he is getting this bomb down. Beastly knows this, but he can't do anything about it because Lackey is on the coverage. Arrow is taken care of, and Lackey finishes it off. It is Nocturnes with a flawless round, taking their time but seizing the proper moment, sending it in, and it looks like Gaimin Gladiators just got stunned into submission.
I looked down at my notes to write down, you know, the Slothy opening pick on the Quartz. I look up and Poison is planting. Did he drop kitchen?
I would have to assume so, because there's no other place he could come from.
That's such a... I mean, someone dropping a hatch is something that you can hear, like, across the map. You can hear someone dropping off a table. And I guess no one from either no one from Gaimin Gladiators knew. Maybe, you know, a lot of times players don't hear stuff because, you know, comms are kind of cluttering their sound, whatever. They need to hear their teammates, whatever. Either they had no idea or they just had nothing in position to deny it. Every time we saw someone from Gaimin Gladiators reposition or push out from where they were just sitting, they got caught. Nocturne set up that sneaky little plant play perfectly. It's like a complete reversal from what we saw in the defense, where Nocturnes, their positioning was not great. They weren't finding a lot of their frags. They were giving Gaimin Gladiators a lot of room to breathe. Now it's the exact opposite. Nocturnes look fierce. They are finding their picks. Beautiful shots being hit left and right by people like Poison, Lackey, Slothy, and everywhere Gaimin Gladiators try to move, there is a gun from Nocturnes trained on it. They're being very thorough. I guess that's the point. That's the Mr. P and Nightmare Nick's discipline finally showing, because we missed those 2 players playing together for last week, I think, right? One game Nyx was out, one game Poison was out, or something like that. Or no, one game they were both out, and then one game Poison was out. So I'm very happy to see Nocturnes now back and operating, at full cylinders and showing just how much they've improved since the beginning of this season. But of course, they are still down a round, and now Gaimin Gladiators, they're not turtling anymore. They are establishing this roam. If they start playing in Nocturne's face, I'm afraid Nocturnes might fumble.
Right, at least that's what they're hoping to do. They're trying to exploit maybe another weakness of Nocturnes, or at least find a weakness, because they've yet to be unable to do that at least on the defensive side. It is still concerning that they really want to go to church again. I mean, this is the third time they have gone to this basement site, and, well, they've already lost it twice. Tried CCTV once, that didn't work. Avoiding gym and bedroom, avoiding bar and stage for now. But the big change here, I mean, essentially it will function like a different site, at least for the first 2 minutes of the round, because Nocturnes can no longer just walk in the building for free and establish the vertical pressure. Instead, they have got to clear very methodically their way through the entire extension. They got to use their utility up above, and I guess they'll have an easier time, at least now, that a team kill happened and Arrow's dead.
Did he have a skin on? Did they have to kill him because of that? Did Jolton just get spooked? I don't know what just happened. Either way, that's a big body off the board. That's a roamer. Now you've just made Nocturne's job easier, compounded by the kill Nyx gets on the courts. Things are completely falling apart for this defense, even more so as Slothy gets a pick of his own. That leaves Beastly and Sykes in a 2 versus 5. 1 in bar. Beastly trying to climb the stairs and assist his teammate in any capacity, but it might be too little too late. I mean, look at the time Nocturnes have to play with. 1:30 on the clock. Crossfire setup, vertical play being established, distraction being performed over in stock that Sykes doesn't even challenge. Somehow ends up getting punished by Lackey. Beastly goes big for 2, but is it enough? 1 versus 3, plenty of time for Nocturnes to play with. K's still in their hands as well, and they've already transitioned to the basement. Knowing that Beastly was trying to come upstairs, Exod catches him in the long hallway, and we went from a 5-1 half to a tie game.
It turned from a concerning defensive half from the Nocturnes to an absolute embarrassment of a half from Gaimin Gladiators, especially given the absolute momentum that they had secured. I mean, up 5-1, firing on all cylinders, feeling good, looking good, and we're seeing Nocturnes completely flip that script. I mean, talk about preparing for a map. Maybe they didn't iron out their defenses enough, but they have certainly ironed out their attacks. Another case of, I mean, sure, Arrow getting team killed isn't the greatest thing for Gaimin Gladiators, but it wasn't that much of an impact on the round where Nocturnes should breeze through the entire thing without losing a body and without, I don't know, thinking twice. It looked like it was textbook dry runs even for Nocturnes, like there was no defender even resisting that clear. Obviously, it's a little extreme, but Gaimin Gladiators, they have got to start putting up a defensive fight because, man, have things turned around, and coming off that timeout, going right to a demoralizing round, I mean, that is not going to look kindly on these next few rounds where Gaimin Gladiators now are desperate to find a first defensive win.
And I guess that's down to the Gaimin Gladiators, again, having a 30% defending win rate on this map. I thought the 5-1 half was going to be enough to, kind of balance out the scale there. But Nocturnes are showing up. They've never played this map before. But if we look at their aggregate, 35% defensive win rate, not great. So, it kind of makes sense that they're going down 5-1. But a 52% attacking win rate against such a struggling defensive game from Gaimin Gladiators. I honestly, I'm surprised at first, but when you really look at the stats and look at how these two teams have performed so far, both on this map and in the aggregate, it kind of makes sense. Now Nocturnes are on the cusp of turning this advantage around and ripping away those 3 points from Gaimin Gladiators, and this fight could have a big impact on it. Lackey just under the hatch, looking like he wants to take the fight against Quartz. It could be Frenchie v. Frenchie here in a second, but Zofia evades the line of sight for now. No one playing downstairs means he's relatively safe. Again, Quartz not holding the angle will allow the Zofia to slip through. And Lackey can now go for that vertical play if he so chooses to flush positions like Quartz is out and like Jolton and Bathroom.
Right now, Lackey is droning the basement, making sure nobody is sneaking up on a bit of a flank because all the other drones are busy focused right on Cort's position. They all know exactly where he is. Several drones. Lackey sitting down below. Cort is as good as dead unless he can do that. Unless he steps up, takes a fight, and wins it, completely changing what was about to happen. Arrow also getting one at the same time, giving Gaimin Gladiators a substantial 5v3 advantage. Jolton, he wants this other fight. He's positioned on this mirror window in the bathroom. The Selma charges opening up this wall, but not revealing the entire thing. Jolton holding on to a sliver of hard cover, watching these attackers come in, but he misses his chance. He was so close, but Poison prevails.
And he just keeps the ball rolling. He just walks on in. Slothy, his support from the window, though, is the next to die, leaving on him and Exod, the two hard breachers now in a 2 versus 4. Poison tries to act off the flash, but ends up getting caught before it detonates. Exod's alone. The only thing standing between Gaimin Gladiators and match point. He dies to Beastly, and we finally have the defense stopping the bleeding. But are we going to see back-to-back 5-1 halves?
They finally take one, and it is on Gym of all sites. The first time that Gaimin Gladiators have been willing to go to a site that isn't church or CCTV, and, well, it worked. Nocturns, I assume, were just maybe not as prepared for that to get thrown at them, and when they actually tried to go for the execution, they got a little bit distracted and a little bit tunnel-visioned on forcing out Quartz, who then completely flipped the script on his own side and just popped up and took those players down with ease. Took Lackey down, who was holding that angle with an LMG for God knows how long, waiting for Quartz to rotate. But Quartz, and smartly so, he knew how much of his body was exposed to that angle. He knew where he needed to sit to not be exposed to that angle from below. And, well, he ended up winning that gunfight with a nice pre-fire. Had some intel on his own, it seemed, as well. So, after all of that slandering of Gaimin Gladiators I just did, they will take one round, and they will head over to match point.
It's Cash again, though. No Monty from Nocturns this time. Instead, it looks like it's still going to be a garage clear, but instead of a shield, it's the fire arrows from Capitao. So instead of just walking up on him and hoping to provide a distraction, they really want to push him out and force that Garage Rafters player to not even take the fight, but sprint away. Because a lot of times if you end up taking that fight, if you don't kill the person, like with your first bullet, you're just going to burn to death. So I guess they kind of want to prevent, Exod dying and then there being, a late-ish trade. They want to completely eliminate that risk. But there's no bandit tricking to be had. And I thought I saw, that shield play down below. I think the ace charge just destroyed the thermite as well, which is not great. They have now used every ace charge and have one thermite. So they're not going to thermite the wall. Instead, I guess they'll use it for garage.
Ooh, bit of a slight utility misplay there. That doesn't usually happen, but I think there was some slight communication issue with who was going to get that wall open and when they were going to do that. So Exod putting those Selma charges down prematurely, making Poison only have one of those exothermic charges to actually work with. He'll use the other one over on that garage left panel and open things up. They've also got a ping on Quartz's position, and he is once again pinned down. The question is, like last round, can he step up and get himself out of this do or die position? He's continuing to get droned. Poison knows where he is. They've got some pressure coming in from that main double door. Quartz will continue to swing and take this fight, but Arrow has been flamed out in the meantime. Quartz does step up and gets one, but he's quickly traded. Exod also felled. The impact from Beastly to finish things off. Beastly wants another, but he's got to be careful. This has quickly turned back into an even 3v3. A nade at Beastly's position. He has to relocate. There's no other coverage. At least the coverage from Poison is late. Poison now gets lit up. Beastly alive for only a moment longer as Lackey takes him down.
Now Jolton and Sykes left to pick up the pieces. The garage clear definitely not going as smoothly as Nocturns would have liked. It looked like they didn't completely have the info that Beastly was the second man in Rafters. Typically, you only have one there, and Nocturns made the mistake of assuming. Jolton is out of gas canisters too. Where did he put them? I guess it was early on the breach because he was worried about like a blitz into sight or something. But Either way, there's no plant denial, period. It's an Aruni and a smoke with no babes. There's no C4. You can't even impact from below. If they go below, it's pretty much useless unless Jolton gets the perfect shotgun shot. But a beautiful angle from Sykes will take the head off of Poison, evening the man count. But Slothy comes in for the plant. Lackey refrags Jolton. It's all on Sykes, and all he has to do is fight an LMG. Lackey sitting on top of his planter. No sign of Sykes just yet. He pushes through the doorway, and it's easy for Lackey with the cover. We are getting overtime, Jonah. 5-1 attacking halves back to back.
Yeah, a strange clubhouse is what we're seeing in front of us right now. Defensive teams only able to find a single round each half. Kind of ridiculous, but the fact that we're going to overtime, well, I'm sure both of these teams are pumped about that. Less so Gaimin Gladiators, of course, because they just had a chance to win the game, and they could not do so. But maybe a conservation of utility on the defensive side also got them into a little bit of trouble. But fun fact here, Nocturns have actually yet to go to any overtime games at all. They've won twice outright in regulation, and they've lost 4 times outright in regulation. So their first overtime game, only question is, how is it going to end?
Ooh, Nocturns with attack first. That's got to suck if you're Gaimin Gladiators. I mean, you just look at the game. It is a 10-2 advantage for the attack right now. That's a daunting task. However, Jonah, Jim is the one defensive point that the Gladiators have accrued.
5 seconds to go.
Nocturns did not look good at this on this site. It wasn't even like a close round, like, ooh, came down to a 1v1. Gaimin Gladiators just eke out the win. Like, Nocturns did not look good. They tried to, like, shove themselves through the breach and then all died, and they never took server. Whatever. It looked like they just didn't do the proper step-by-step. And that's the one hope, I think, that Gaimin Gladiators have of actually taking this map and, you know, bucking the trend is this site, and Nocturne's looking so bad on it.
Well, they're going to have to speed things up this time, and they will start that by opening up the construction wall. Jolton, a quick headshot onto Nyx, who's holding an angle, but he didn't know that I think he could just barely see the top of the Wamai's head. So already, impact found by Jolton, the first time in a while. He actually hasn't made much of an impact since about halfway through this map.
Yeah.
But finally, finding the scoreboard again, and doing so when, I mean, it could not matter more. It's overtime. It is Gaimin Gladiators hoping to pull out a defensive round that are very hard to come by. He'll go for 2. Jolton collects a kill onto Exot as well. Nocturnes, this clear from the cash side has gone horribly wrong.
And I mean, like you said, Jolton, according to our stats, has not even gotten a cost point since round number 5, and here in overtime, he lights up the scoreboard with 2 opening picks onto Sledge and Ace. He may have just single-handedly won this round for his team, and like I said, bucked the trend that his team so desperately needed. You've got another person bearing down on him. He'll narrowly avoid the shots for now, but his feet are getting lit up. He can't connect on the Lackey. Slothy has been downed in the meantime. We might see a pickup from the Zoe, but not just yet. He's worried about a bait possibly coming out because there's no third attacker with them. Poison probably, yes, yeah, I was going to say outside the Jacuzzi breach, now rotating to the roof. In comes Jolton. He'll find a third, looking for a fourth. No trade potential from Lackey just yet. He backed off too far. And in 2 minutes, Nocturnes have not gained any ground. The only thing they've suffered is death. With 1 back on the Sykes, the Aruni, in terms of utility, that's almost useless. Poison now has to shove himself up red stairs. Jolton has fallen back. This is looking like a devastating disadvantage for Nocturnes heading into round 14.
Yeah, Poison, I mean, looking like he's trapped and out of options. Same goes for Lackey, who's just going to hop on the metal balcony and look to find just a window peek maybe to get a kill or 2 back, hoping that one of these defenders is going to be willing to swing him and take this gunfight. Poison does take 1, but is quickly traded by Arrow with the 416 as he takes a fight in logistics, and Lackey will now have to just crouch walk in and face check into a lethal crossfire. Quartz is the one who gets the headshot, and Gaimin Gladiators, once again, it is dominance on Jim. The only defensive site that has worked for them, it will work once again.
And although Nocturns tried to switch up the push, instead of, full sending it below and through the breach, they do the server take. They try to full clear the map. And who's there to meet them? Jolton. The man who has not done a thing in terms of statistics since round number 5, steps up, gets 3 kills just on the server hold, and gets away scot-free. I mean, if you're looking for impact, that's it right there. The third defensive round 1 comes at the perfect time when Gaimin Gladiators needs it most. Now we have Nocturnes swapping onto the defense. Church, a site they've defended twice and not been successful either time. Their only win was Bar. They tried it again and failed. And at this point, I mean, Bar is one of those sites where you defend it once, you probably can't do it again, as we saw in that first half. So where does Nocturnes go? Church, I guess, was one of their better attempts. It came down to like a 1 versus 1. But still, the pressure's on for the defense.
And now even more so because the Nocturnes face, again, their second match point of the map so far. This time it is overtime match point, and there is no looking back for them unless they can pull this one off. Again, they have secured at least 1 point. They've got 1 point under their belts. An overtime loss still gets you something, but they would love to emerge here with not only that victory, but with the 2 points that you gain if you are victorious. But Gaimin Gladiators, they will once again have to stare down a substantial extension. Nocturnes have not varied their church defenses much at all, going for a roam, going for a very big extension every single time. Quartz has been the player on the attacking side to provide the cutoff over from Strip Club, and he will do so again, now pressuring B1, while the rest of the team works their way in up top. Jacuzzi wall opened wide, Arrow pressuring that logistics hatch, and they are getting this web of control around the map as soon as they can, but this takes time. And if Poison, like last time, if he is able to go unnoticed and shoot a couple of players in the back, Gaimin Gladiators, well, they're going to be in a load of trouble.
Remember, it's not just Poison. He's got help up there, both Exod and Slothy on the roam with him, as well as support down below in Bar. I think that's Lackey on the Oryx, but it's Quartz to get that kill. The man who I just highlighted, covering beneath. He goes down first. Now those rotates from the top floor players are going to be much more exposed, no longer having that coverage. Poison's playing close on the doorway with the shotgun, but the Gladiators seem to be rotating. They figure, all right, we've taken Master. We've taken above Bar. That's all we really need to do. These players by server and cash, unless we go for a blue play, can't do much. And that's why you see Exod now fully rotating off the roam and leaving Poison alone to hopefully go for a successful late flank.
Well, the difference here is that Gaimin Gladiators, they have a drone to watch. They just have to watch it. That's the only requirement, because if Poison can sneak by it, again, he can make that impact, because all he has to do is drop down that hatch. In a moment's notice, he will disappear from the drone's view. So someone on Gaimin Gladiators has to be paying attention. Right now, their focus is on the site, and they cannot get sidetracked here. You do have Sykes, who's going to maintain that flank watch and going to be flicking these drones. He may have just spotted out Poison, who did drop down, rotate away, that is, and reposition. Beastly, the fact that he's turning his attention towards that position suggests he does know that there was somebody over there a moment ago. Poison has since dropped down to regain the 4 defenders on the site, because this push from the attack, it is right about to happen. But Nyx, he's the one who pushes. He takes down Arrow first.
And there's another from Slothy holding off the breach. That's Case now dropped. In comes another player, but Exod whiffs. Sykes will take advantage of that LMG to even the man count. Jolton, another on Slothy, but down goes the Zoe. Long angle held with the SMG-11, finds its mark. In comes Quartz, could land a headshot, but Poison right now is ducked under. C4 goes up and it misses. There's the kill. It's all up to Nyx, and he can't do much. Quartz whips around, gets the last kill, and it ends up being an 8-6 victory for the Gladiators.
Well, that was a close one. Even that last round came down to a nail-biter, despite how attacker-sided this map has been. But a peculiar clubhouse, just putting it that way. Not necessarily in how each round was played out, but really just in the overall side split. A 5-1